Welcome to ECB, everything college basketball, cooking it up with Tyler, Josh, and Peyton. Yeah. It's everything college basketball. We're marching on to the madness comes. Every fool go press, every crazy dunk, every conference and how that team's match up. We're pulling your poles, taking your bows, letting the Burton brothers know the players you're watching, the teachers you're not with, and who you see in the Final Four. With them shout outs and weekly pick'ems, plus those crazy rants from Tyler, Josh, and Peyton. It's ECB, everything college basketball, training three. Man, this podcast has it all. It's ECB, everything college basketball, training three. Man, this podcast has it all. Yeah, now the moment you've all been waiting for. Your host from the corner three. It's Josh and Peyton Burton with Tyler Cool. Everything College Basketball Podcast.
We're live? We're live. Welcome back to another edition of ECB Presents In the Zone Press, the YouTube show. It's been roughly 6 months or so, 6 or 7 months since we've done this, but like we tell you here lately, college basketball is 6 weeks away, almost 5 weeks away now, and it's time to start ramping back our YouTube show up. Of course, I'm Josh Burton. You guys should know by now.
My name's Peyton Burton.
And Tyler Cook's not with us tonight. I do believe he's watching live, though. As you know, normally he's with us, not only podcast when we do the In the Zone Press, but we wanted to go ahead and again, we've been telling you the college season's almost here, and let's go ahead and pop a YouTube show out, why don't we?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We'll go ahead and tidy up some stuff. Obviously, yesterday we recorded and released episode number 37 of the ECB podcast. We previewed and gave predictions for the Big Ten this upcoming season. I thought that was one of our best shows we've done all summer.
No doubt. One of our best shows, top to bottom, giving our predictions for the Big Ten Conference. Looks like we did a poll. Looks like SEC will win. Is winning right now, so it looks like we'll probably preview SEC this week.
Yeah, it looks like we'll go to the Southeastern Conference for next week on episode 38. But the episode 37, though, for those who haven't got a chance to listen to it yet, you need to go check it out. Go find us, Everything College Basketball, on Anchor.fm. Go find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you find podcasts, search Everything College Basketball. Episode 37 is about 2 hours and some change. It's a really good one. But tidying up, kind of looking back to it, the Big Ten, for those who didn't get here, our top 4 schools voted on by us. We had Michigan State unanimously winning the conference.
No doubt.
Maryland number 2, Ohio State 3, Purdue 4.
Yes, sir.
Round all the way at the bottom, finishing dead last, we have
Northwestern.
So you can kind of go find where your team is or teams you might be looking for. I know there's a lot of Indiana fans. We have them middle of the pack somewhere. Yep. But like we mentioned in the show yesterday, those teams from about 4 down to 10 could be so tight and compact, record-wise, standings-wise, that it wouldn't surprise me a team like Indiana sneaks into the top 4.
No.
The talent's there, but Big Ten's going to be good again this year. Again, searching for the first national champion since Michigan State did it in 2000. Michigan State's not only the perennial favorite inside the Big Ten, but going to be top 2, top 3 in the nation anyways.
And arguably has probably one of the best players in the nation.
They've got the preseason National Player of the Year on their team as we stand right now in Cassius Winston.
And you got a legendary coach, Mr. Much as we dubbed him, Tom Izzo. That's a recipe for success.
And it's a team that's bringing back just about everybody, plus a healthy Josh Langford now. A team that came off of a Final Four berth. A lot of good things going on in East Lansing to start the year off with.
Yes, there is.
But let's go ahead and move forward. We did mention it in the news section yesterday on the podcast, episode 37. We did touch on the news about Kansas receiving notice of allegation on Friday. More came out about that today as we sit here on Monday. What's today? September 23rd. It was revealed what Kansas got alleged, or their notification. It's basically a lot of major 1 violations. Lack of program accountability, just a lot of bad stuff going on in Lawrence right now.
Yeah, not good, especially as the season's getting ready to start. It's pretty bad timing if you're a Kansas fan, like I know Cook is. It's bad timing, man.
Yeah, for sure. And Kansas is going to be a favorite right there at Michigan State to start the year off 1, 2, 3, around that. They've got a hell of a team. Tough timing. It's not good any time, but especially like when you're number of weeks away from the season kicking off and your first game of the year is against Duke in Madison Square Garden. But it stems around potential payments to players or their handlers. Sylvia D'Souza, Billy Preston. Billy Preston never played a game as far as I remember for Kansas. Sylvia D'Souza has already won his appeal set out last year.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Obviously, Major 1 violations could result in as much as Bill Self missing up to a year, I heard, coaching. Loss of scholarships, maybe a postseason ban. A lot of craziness. And the thing about it, too, I've been hearing, is the postseason ban, if Kansas wants to avoid, like, major damage, too, because it's been precedent before. Louisville tried to do it to themselves. Other programs have done it. There's a chance that this year they could go ahead and say, well, let's go take our ban now this year instead of waiting, for multiple stuff down the road. And that would suck because a team that could win it all, that's going to be my preseason number 1, what if they couldn't even play in the tournament because of a ban?
That would be awful.
Especially D'Souza came back to play. Udoka Azubuike came back for his senior year to play. And then you could be the best team in the nation and not even be eligible to play in the tournament if that happened.
Yeah. Back when Louisville did it, we had a pretty good team. We had Damian Lee, we had Trey Lewis and Terry Rozier, but nothing like this Kansas team. If they can't play in the tournament this year, that would suck. Honestly, that would not be good. I wouldn't like that at all because it wouldn't be the same without Kansas in it. They're probably one of the number 1 seeds, most definitely. One of the favorites coming in. They got a great team coming back, and if they can't make the tournament, or if they can't be in the tournament next year, then that was going to suck.
Yeah, that's an interesting situation. And again, there's no guarantee. Maybe nothing comes of it. Maybe Kansas skates by. We talked about it yesterday on the podcast. LSU, Will Wade said basically screw the NCAA. Sean Miller's still at Arizona. So there's precedent before to just say, so what? So what?
Yeah.
Hairy situation. And Tyler, you're right. Tyler's in the chat. And he said, and he just posted in the Facebook group for those who don't know or haven't heard. Facebook group's where it's at. www.facebook.com/group/everything college basketball. Chat like 24/7, 365 with a bunch of college hoops nuts like us.
Yep.
But Tyler had just posted about the article from CBS Sports. Bill Self tonight came out and fired back at the NCAA. He called the claims. You got the article pulled up here? What does he say?
Hold on. Let's see here. I think this is it.
By the NCAA's own admission, through its public statements earlier this summer, it's no secret that there is tremendous pressure on the NCAA to respond to the federal court proceedings involving college basketball. Compelled to reassure member institutions and general public that it completes at the member institutions, the NCAA enforcement staff has responded in an unnecessarily aggressive manner in submitting today's unsubstantiated notice of allegations, and I, as well as the university, will vigorously dispute what has been alleged. So, of course, Bill doesn't have any choice. He's going to fire back, as he probably should.
Yeah, he has to.
So we'll see. Now it's a battle between Bill and the University of Kansas University against the NCAA. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, they already won one battle. Let's see if they can win the ultimate one now.
I really hope they do.
So we'll see. But what we're here to talk about tonight, normally you guys that know when we're in season, we normally do this midweek sometime, and we preview the big weekends games. Normally we wait, that Saturday we have like a marquee game, Duke, Carolina, Indiana, Purdue, Kentucky, Tennessee, Kansas, Texas Tech, whatever.
Yep.
So we break that down and go in detail, predictions, things to watch out for. We don't have any games right now.
Yeah.
So what we're doing, the Athlon, you've heard us talk about the last couple days. The Athlon Sports College Basketball Preview Magazine's out. 10 Things to Watch, what we're going to go over by Gary Parrish from CBSSports.com. Give our thoughts on it, some interesting stuff. Number 1, Peyton. Yes, Duke and Kentucky will be good again, and Does that surprise anybody?
No, not at all. Not even close to surprising anybody. These two teams are going to be top 5 all year round. Duke has lost Zion, RJ, Cam Reddish, but they bring back Trey Jones. They bring in Cassius Stanley, bring in
Matthew Hurt,
and Vernon Carey. So you guys
Wendell Moore as well.
Wendell Moore, you got 5 stars coming in, plus with a returning sophomore Trey Jones. That's a good team.
And you got shooter Alex McConnell. You've got
Jack
Mr.
White.
Do-It-All, Jack White, who gets every freaking offensive rebound, it feels like. It's going to be another good Duke team. They won't be as explosive as last year's team, but they might be a better shooting team. They might get back to that Duke style because Matthew Hurt, remember how we all raved about him as a senior in high school this past year? He's a big white kid who can stretch the floor from deep.
Yes.
Especially, and we'll get into another thing here later, they've moved the three-point line back this year, but I still think he's got enough range to really make people pay. Vernon Carey inside's a good post player. Trey Jones got to improve his jumper.
I feel like he's going to improve his jumper this year.
He's got to.
And another thing about Trey Jones, last year he was obviously overshadowed by the 3 5-stars and Cam Reddish, RJ, and Zion. This year he has to show out.
Yeah, it's his team.
Like it's his team. He has to show out. He's the sophomore. He's the point guard. He's the players coach. He has to come out there and score some buckets. He can still facilitate, but he has to get there and get some buckets if Duke wants to win games.
Yeah, and another player that's kind of flying under the radar for Duke, too, coming back with experience is Javon DeLaurier.
Yep.
And the other one, too, the other guard.
Goldwire?
The Goldwire that's going to spell minutes. Remember, he has good defensive minutes, can hit an open three. But Goldwire and DeLaurier is going to be your defensive anchors to help out, make those like hustle plays along with Jack White.
And I don't care how good the team is. If you're a good defender, you'll find minutes on the floor. No doubt. So those guys will definitely play. Goldwire, he's what led them to that comeback win against Louisville. Because they went to that
Picking
full
up
court
pressure.
press.
Yep.
Went to that full court press. You had Trey Jones and Goldwire on the top of that. And they was just wrecking havoc against Louisville. And we couldn't do anything about it. So Goldwire coming back is going to help.
Yeah. So we'll see. Duke should get back to that team that shoots a bunch of threes, spreads you out, pick and pop. Last year they were more the athletic, just overwhelm you with athleticism and pure talent. Kentucky, of course, they're going to be really good.
Kentucky's going to be guard heavy.
Very much so.
Front court has some questions. The 3-point shot has some questions. But most importantly, they got guys coming back. Quickly's coming back. Most importantly, Ashton Hagans is coming back. One of the top 5 defenders in the nation. One of the best point guards in the SEC. So he's coming back. You got experienced guys coming back, and you got some 5-stars coming in. You got Tyrese Maxey who can light it up.
Coach Cal just yesterday compared him to Jamal Murray, which is high praise.
Yes.
And I didn't see him as that type of shooter. But if Cal says that he's Jamal Murray, like you got to expect he's got to light it up.
You got to trust it. Johnny Juzang, he can light it up.
He can light it up.
Kevin Knox and him. Not as strong though, but I can see Kevin Knox game.
And then the most athletic they're talking about is Khalil Whitney.
Khalil Whitney's definitely the most athletic, I believe. And also a great defender. And talking about great defenders, Keon Brooks, he's a good defender as well.
Yeah. So. Front court depth's going to be the issue for the Cats. We got talent in the front court, but with Nick Richards as a junior, E.J. Montgomery's a sophomore, and grad transfer Nate Sestina, it leaves that's really the only 3 true front court players. But a guy like Keon Brooks could slide down, play a 4 if he needs to. So there's versatility there. Cal likes to use that buzzword, positionless basketball. Yeah. This year's team could really see that. But you mentioned it, backcourt depth's going to be as good as any backcourt in America, especially not just the front 2, but like the backups too.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
You're forgetting about Dante Allen. If he's healthy,
that's right.
Big time 4-star scorer in the state of Kentucky before he went down with injury last year, putting up 40, 50-point games.
I'd look on Twitter every day and see, Dante Allen scores 40. The next game he scores 50.
He's just wired to score.
He's a great scorer.
So that's thing number 1 of the 10 to watch by Gary Parrish. Kentucky and Duke's both going to be good. They're both going to have hiccups at some point throughout the year. They're going to lose a couple games that we're like, what's going on?
I feel like both teams will struggle early.
Right, but by March, when it matters the most, both should come in as a 1-2 seed area.
Yeah,
and both are going to be right there when it matters. So. Yeah, the Cats and Blue Devils, the beat keeps rolling on for those 2.
Yep.
Thing number 2 to watch. Florida might be the biggest threat to Kentucky in the SEC, and I wholeheartedly agree.
Well, no doubt. When we do our SEC predictions probably this week, no doubt Florida's in my top 2. Florida's going to be really good. They got Kerry Blackshear Jr. coming in. That was a hell of an addition to the team.
Yeah. Tyler likes to call him the tiptoe wonder.
Tiptoe wonder.
But he was putting up buckets at Virginia Tech. Part of that, he was their big player when they beat Duke last year.
Yep.
He's a big kid, 6'8", 6'9", plays on the wing, can take you off the bounce, got a good-looking jumper on him, strong as an ox, lanky, can play and defend. So it's a big key addition for Florida. The craziest, transfer portal thing we've seen all summer, because you kept hearing for months, 1 week he was favored to Memphis, then the next year was Kentucky, then he was looking at North Carolina,
Tennessee,
and then Tennessee, and then maybe Arkansas was in there, and Florida kind of fell off, and then at the very end he chose Florida. Everybody's like, what the hell?
What? Yeah.
Good pickup for Florida, but they bring back Andrew Nimhard. They bring back a lot of pieces. Florida is wired to be really, really good this year. Mike White has got a good Florida program right now going, and not only are they going to be top 2, Kentucky, the SEC is going to be really good this year again.
Yeah.
They might even challenge for the best conference in basketball, college basketball.
I can see it.
And as good as that's going to be, Kentucky and Florida is going to separate themselves. They're going to be tier 1, and everybody else might be tier 2, tier 3. But Florida definitely can challenge.
Yes. Florida definitely can challenge.
Florida definitely can challenge the Cats. Speaking of Cats, my dog just came in, so sorry for the noise. That's thing number 2. Florida can challenge. At the end of the year, if they were to win the conference, wouldn't surprise me.
No.
Wouldn't
surprise
me
either.
Peyton, key number 3, we talked about a lot this past episode.
This says Tom Izzo's second title could be on tap. I mean, yes, 100%. He could get his second title. His first one was 2000. What was it?
2000. Yep.
2000. It's been a long drought without a national title for Tom Izzo. I can definitely see it. 100%. They're top. Michigan State's going to be top 3 all year round. I might have them number 1 for my preseason polls. I don't know yet. I know a lot of people, a lot of experts have Michigan State number 1. And I can totally see it. They got great players in Cassius Winston. They got returning Joshua Langford, who's a scoring machine. You got Xavier Tillman, who's a defensive anchor. You got all the pieces to be successful.
Yeah, there's not a lot of weaknesses in their arsenal, or there's no chink in their armor, should you say. And they're going to be tested early.
Oh.
They've got probably the toughest schedule in America before they even get to the Big Ten Conference. They've got to play Kentucky first night. They've got to play Duke in the Big Ten ACC. There's a chance their paths with Kansas could cross in the final of Maui. They've got to play Seton Hall. This is all before they get into conference play.
Ridiculous. And then conference play, you got to play Maryland a couple times. You got to play Michigan.
You got to go on the road to Indiana.
Illinois, Ohio State. You got to play all these opponents. They're definitely battle tested.
Yeah, so Sparty, of course, is going to be good. Check out episode 37. We really get into them.
Yes.
And even an early episode in the summer, we preview Michigan State.
Yeah.
Thing number 4 to watch. The SEC has loaded up on high-level coaches. We'll talk a lot about this if that's the conference we preview Sunday on episode 38. But, you talk about over the last couple of years, the reason the SEC has got back on the map basketball-wise is because of the coaching hires.
Yes.
Go back to 2009 when Cal came in. You look at the coaches. Tennessee's got Rick Barnes. Texas A&M just brought in Buzz Williams, which was proven he could coach. Arkansas brings in Eric Musselman. He can get it done. He was at Nevada, good recruiter. Alabama brings in Nate Oates from Buffalo, who turned that program on his head. You look at Vanderbilt bringing in Jerry Stackhouse with the NBA prodigy. He's going to bring recruits into Nashville.
Yes.
You look at LSU, even with Will Wade. Will Wade can coach. He was a good coach at VCU beforehand. Obviously did a hell of a job at LSU last year. What's some of the other ones I'm thinking of here? Oh, God.
Tom Crean.
Tom Crean at Georgia. How can we forget Bruce Pearl at Auburn?
Bruce Pearl.
Mike White at Florida. The whole conference is what we're getting at. The whole conference from top to bottom is got really good high-level coaches.
Yes.
Guys that can lead programs or has been there before. So the SEC, that's a big reason why that they are taking that step up to trying to get back to the best conference in basketball like they were at one point in the early 90s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thing 5, this is a big one.
Penny Hardaway is a problem for the Blue Bloods. If Yeah, no doubt. His first recruiting class is number 1 in the nation. He brings in James Wiseman, arguably the number 1 player in the nation, coming in. You got a great recruiting class, a bunch of 5 stars and 4 stars. He's already making his mark in 2020. He's getting he hasn't got any commitments yet, but he's getting his name out there at least. He's doing a hell of a job in the recruiting aspect for college basketball. No doubt in my mind, he's definitely a problem for the Blue Bloods of Kentucky, Carolina, Kansas, all these guys. He's definitely a problem.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Penny, and he stirred up controversy, right? Mm-hmm. Stirred up controversy last year saying that other coaches are jealous of him, and he's going to have the team this year. Definitely led by number 1 pick as of right now, James Wiseman.
Yes.
If you look at other draft boards or whatnot. He's stolen recruits from Kentucky. He's taken from Duke, Carolina. So Memphis is back on the map in basketball. It's now the pressure's on him. If he can remotely coach, if he can just remotely steer the ship and keep the talent together and egos in check, Memphis is going to be a handful all season long.
I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on Memphis just because of, obviously, he's not proven yet. You've got a lot of players coming in who's not proven yet. They're just going off potential. I feel like a lot of people sleeping on Penny Hardaway's Memphis team. And I feel like you shouldn't be because they could be dangerous.
Yeah,
if
I think one of the polls we looked at today had him like 21st.
21st, yeah.
Yeah, Memphis, if Penny can remotely do half the things he thinks he can do, then Memphis could be cutting the nets down come April.
Or at least get into the Final Four.
They could at least be in there, right?
Yes.
Thing number 6, my coach of the year last year, led a team damn near to a national championship, made it to the national title game. Chris Beard has, again, restocked at Texas Tech. Looking at this, Texas Tech in its second season under Chris Beard with 27 games advanced to the Elite 8 2018 NCAA tournament. Last year in his third season, went to the national championship game. They do lose Jarrett Culver. They do lose, not Moretti. What's the other kid's name?
I don't know, actually.
The other big wing player that they had.
Oh my God.
Other guard, not Moretti. I can't think of his name now.
Oh my God.
But anyways, they lose two big.
He came off the bench.
They lose 2 big contributors, but they bring back Mike Moretti. They bring back some other guys who had big time experience last year. They bring in the transfer from Virginia Tech that's got experience. They bring Chris Clark. They bring in transfer T.J. Holyfield from Stephen F. Austin, who averaged double figures there. So and. We got proven last year, defense carries, right? Mm-hmm. Virginia, Texas Tech, all them to Michigan State in the Final Four. Defense carries, and you can win titles with defense, and that's what Texas Tech's calling card is. You know, they struggled a little bit this summer, too. They actually lost a game in the Bahamas, the same place where Memphis was playing at, if you remember.
Yep.
But, that's a time they're probably checking out rotations, trying stuff. They're playing professional team. I know it sounds like a bunch of excuses, but it really doesn't matter, right?
No.
It doesn't matter. It's a bad look, but it doesn't matter. You know, I think that Tech's going to struggle out of the gates. I think getting finding new playmakers, because anytime you lose a guy like Jarrett Culver, who went top 10 in the draft, that could, if you needed a bucket and you're in a bind, just give it to him. He'll go clear one. They're going to have to rely on more of system style to get 2 or 3 guys, scoring double figures.
Yeah.
But that's why I think November, December, they'll struggle. But when it gets in the heart of the Big 12, they're going to be right there again. And come March, you just never know.
You never know.
Thing 7 to keep an eye out on.
Arizona should be back to looking like Arizona. This is touchy for me because Arizona, let me say this real quick. Arizona's going to be good. Don't get me wrong. They got Nico Manion coming in. They got Josh Green coming in. But they lost Terry Armstrong, who went pro, who's in the NBL right now actually playing or doing a dunk contest or what the hell it was. So we got guys coming in. I'm just not as high on Arizona as everyone else is.
Well, early in the year we were. Like, early in the offseason, early in the summer we were. Because we were looking at them like, Jesus Christ, Josh Green, Nico Manion. You look at all those players, correct? But with Terry Armstrong, the 4-star, lose a little bit of depth there. Surrounding issues. This is a big make or break. Sean Miller, in a lot of aspects, we didn't think would be back. There was a game towards the end of the year last year. I think it was the last home game in Arizona. He made it seem like it was his farewell goodbye speech. And yeah, it made it seem like he was not coming back because of the NCAA probe and all that stuff. But here he is again. So this is a mega year. Arizona is going to have talent.
Yes.
They're going to be there. But I think with the emergence of Oregon in the Pac-12, Arizona has went from my favorite to maybe second or third now. That's not what's saying, though. Down there in Tucson, the Wildcats in Arizona in the desert, they're going to be a good team. They're going to have a lot of talent, and they're definitely going to have every opportunity to make a deep run again.
Yes. Like you said, Arizona in the earlier season for summer, they was my number one. I thought, no doubt, it's Arizona, Washington, maybe Oregon. But ever since Oregon's got some recruits coming in, and finally Dante and teams like guys like that, and Washington started picking up some steam, and Colorado we just found out about.
Yeah, Colorado, you can't oversell them, man.
I can see Arizona finishing fourth.
Yeah, I definitely could. And at the same aspect, the same breath, playing devil's advocate, I could also see them win the Pac-12.
Oh, yes, no doubt.
So Arizona, after a down season or two, all things considered, I expect the Wildcats in the desert to be back to roaring, back to life.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8, back to school. Juwan returns to Michigan. We kind of touched on this yesterday in episode 37 on the Big Ten preview. Juwan Howard taking over for John Beilein, coming back to Ann Arbor, his alma mater, where he really helped make famous of the Fab Five. Juwan Howard's not had any college experience coaching, but he's been a coach inside the NBA circles for a number of years now, so it's not like he's void of coaching. But it's another thing. Think of like Penny, right? Comes back to his alma mater, NBA star, all that stuff, and they'll see what Juwan does. I do think you're already starting to see a little bit on the recruiting trail. He's starting to pick up steam. As far as this team goes this year, we'll see what system. We talked about it yesterday. Him bringing in Phil Martelli, the legendary coach from St. Joe's, to help as an assistant to basically help baby step and guide him into this new realm of coaching in college is mega. Because anytime you get a guy like Phil Martelli with all that experience to help you, that it speeds and expedites your process, right?
Yeah.
Brings you along. So we'll see. He's going to bring in talent over the years at Michigan. That's not going to be the issue. This year's team, we talked about it. They bring back Xavier Simpson to run the show, and they bring back big man in the middle, John Teskey, with a bunch of role players who now have to be vaulted into higher positions.
Yeah.
See how well they've taken the step from last year to this year over the summer, getting in the weight room. But it's going to be a two-man show early. We talked about, too, they're bringing in Mo Wagner's brother, Franz Wagner, 6'6" guard, can shoot the ball like his brother did. Not the same type of player, obviously, but can definitely shoot, and he's got pro experience playing in Germany just like Mo did. So we'll see.
I feel like this is a 3-year, maybe 4-year plan for Juwan Howard. I feel like his first year is going to be mediocre. They'll be fighting to get like 12-8 or whatever we said they was going to be in the conference. Next year, they'll be good. He'll get his name in the recruiting trail. He'll get some recruits. They'll be good. His third year, I think they'll be really good. And his fourth year, I think they'll be back to Michigan basketball.
Yeah, I actually think it'll be faster than that. I think within the next couple of years, because you keep an eye on, or we talked about, he's already picking up steam. This is on your alley. You've watched him on the recruiting trail, right? There's a chance he might land 5-star Namari Burnett already for next year's class.
Yes.
So we'll see. But as far as this year's goes, if he can get Michigan back to the tournament, I think that's a successful year. Because there's still a lot of unknowns. What system is he going to run?
Oh, yeah.
Is he going to spread them out and keep it like Beilein did? Is he going to grind it out? Is he going to try to go like he did in the Fab 5 days where they'll want to run and, put on a show for you? So we'll see what type of system he implements. We already know, again, he's going to bring in recruits. He's got huge name value, the NBA, all that stuff. But it's a good hire, especially in this situation, because Michigan needed to act quickly. And bringing back Juwan is a good move because the whole, connection to the Fab Five, right? It's one of their own.
Yes, sir.
Thing number 9 to keep an eye on, Peyton.
The reigning national champs should remain relevant. Virginia, who won the national championship last year, they should be pretty decent again this year. Unfortunately, I know they lost out on Kyle Guy, Ty Jerome, and DeAndre Hunter. They lost on the 3 big opponents last year, but they bring in Reese Beekman. He's good. We know him.
Is Beekman's not in this year, is he? He's in for next year.
Sorry, next year.
He's in
but
for
anyways,
next year.
they still bring in. They got Diakite coming back, so that's still big.
Mamadou Diakite, remember the big shot blocker? He's the one that hit the game-tying shot against Purdue to send it to overtime in Elite Eight. That crazy Elite Eight.
They still got Kiki Clark, who made the pass to Diakite for that game-winning shot or game-saver shot. Yeah. So they got some guys coming in or returning, so this should be relevant.
And Tony Bennett's built a consistent winner. He's built a program now instead of just one good team or two good teams. To the fact, Virginia has lost only one game by more than 10 points in the last 2 seasons. A span of 72 games. That loss was a 20-point loss in the 16-1 UMBC Baltimore County win over them, which is crazy. You think about, they go through the ACC, they play all these good Duke, North Carolina, Louisville, Syracuse, Florida State teams over the years, and they've only lost one game in the last 2 years by 10 points or more. That's pretty impressive. That goes to show that they've built a consistent winner. They are going to take a step back, though.
Yes.
You mentioned it. You lose DeAndre Hunter, you lose Ty Jerome, you lose Kyle Guy. You've got to take a step back. But you do bring back experienced guys. Kihei Clark's going to run the show. Mm-hmm. You mentioned
Diakite.
Mamadou Diakite. Braxton Key comes back. You bring back Jay Huff, played in 34 games. You got some guys who play, and you bring in some good freshmen coming in. You bring in a junior college transfer, Thomas Walden. I can't even say his name. But Virginia, and then the way they play defense, much alike Texas Tech's always going to keep them in games. That pack line is ridiculous. They're going to grind you out, try to win games 47-45 if they have to. So it wouldn't surprise me, again, much like we said with Texas Tech, they might struggle early. They might walk into conference play in January with 3 or 4 losses. I mean, it's very plausible. They do have to go to Purdue this year in the rematch for the Big Ten ACC Challenge. That's not going to be easy.
No.
We know Purdue's going to be pretty good again.
Yes.
Not going to be an easy one. They've got some big games. Like I said, they might have 3 or 4 losses coming in January. But as season goes on, more guys get experience under that system. They start to find their way. You know what they do so well? At least they have when they've had guys like Kyle Guy who can shoot so well. They screen the hell out of downs their screens, baseline screens. You go back to the game last year at North Carolina where they end up, every time Carolina put a run together, Virginia would squash it because they would set 2 baseline stagger screens for Kyle Guy. He wouldn't get open. He'd come back off another one. They'd set a down pick for him. He would flare screen. They'd just run people to death until he finally got a shot clock, and we've talked about it. They're going to run 35 seconds of shot clock, or I guess it's 30 seconds, whatever.
Yeah.
They're going to run 25 seconds of shot clock, and then you think you've got them, and then they're going to bust a 3 on you at 29 seconds. A second left on the clock.
And that's going to suck the life out of you. You do not want that.
And then they have to go back, and then they'll suffocate you on D.
It's just terrible. The system Tony Bennett has done the past couple of years for Virginia has worked so well. And it's not easy to play against. And you mentioned Kyle Guy, how he comes off of those off-ball screens. I mentioned it on one of his other podcast episodes. I said he's one of the best coming off those screens because all they do is screen. Screens for days for him, Ty Jerome, and it's just terrible after he hits a 3.
Yeah, they're going to have to find their shooter this year because they won't have that guy, Jerome. But they find it, and then that's when Diakite, you're so worried about that screen. He slips, hit him on a dunk or a little hook shot. And then you got to think, Jack Salt's coming back, this year too? Or did he graduate? Let me check real quick. Where is my Virginia? No, it looks like Jack Salt's gone. Okay. So they lose 4 big pieces too. But Virginia, the beat's going to roll on.
Virginia, they're going to be Virginia still.
Yep. And then the 10th and final point to keep an eye on, the 3-point line is further out than ever. They did go ahead and move it back. They moved it. It's just a smidge more than 22 feet away from the basket now. I don't know how much effect it'll have. Moving it back is going to take a little bit of time. But you've heard guys in summer stuff from different various teams ask about it, and they said it took a minute to get used to it, but they're fine now. It's going to make a team, though, man, like Auburn. You think Auburn that chucks the threes. You think of Wofford from last year that shot the 3-point better than anybody in the nation, right?
Yeah.
You think of teams like that, and we even go back to Duke, spread you out. Now, think about even just the slightest bit. You give another half foot back. That's another half foot you have to extend your defense to guard them. And then it opens up dribble, drives, shot fake, dribble, drive, attack the rim. And then if you stop the ball, then you kick back out for another. It could be very interesting. So you think of teams like Auburn, Villanova. You think about a mid-major team like Wofford. You think about a Utah State who's going to shoot the three well.
Yes.
And then teams that don't shoot the three well, but it could benefit Kentucky.
Yes.
Dribble, drive. You have to spread them out just that much farther. Attack the rim. Chances for offensive rebounds spread you out. It'd be interesting now to see, too, who it benefits defensively. Syracuse and Washington make their zone come out a little bit more? Will that help them or hurt them? Because they're aggressive out of that 2-3.
Yes.
Think about Virginia and Louisville, pack lines. Louisville likes to get out pressure a little bit more, but Virginia likes to stay compact. Now they have to get out a little bit more.
And that could cause problems.
We'll see. I don't expect it. Offensively, shooting the ball, these guys shoot from deep anyways.
That's what I'm saying. It's about time. You got guys like Tremont Waters who's shooting from the three-point line already.
Yeah, you thought about a couple years ago. Trae Young was pulling up right inside of half court. You think Jimmer Fredette was pulling in right inside half court.
Fletcher McGee, Kyrie, like you got guys who can shoot it from anywhere as long as it's half court or lower. So it's about time.
I don't think it's going to affect the offense that much as far as the guys who can shoot and make them is going to still shoot and make them. I think it's going to more affect the offensive systems more and the defensive, like teams that have to guard it a certain way. Because now if you're a slow big having to play a guy like Matthew Hurt on the perimeter, if you're slow rotating, it could screw up everything even more so. And that's just a half foot back.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. Not necessarily the shooters. Maybe percentages might go down just a slight bit. But it's going to be more effective, like the defense and how they adjust to it.
Yes, it's all about the defense and how you adjust and how you adapt to these changes. But anyways, I do like it, though.
Yeah, I mean,
it's about time.
It was about time. Speaking of about time, it's about time we start to wrap this thing up. Real quick, though, a couple interesting things. They do have their top 100 players. We'll get into more of that on a later show. But a couple things that I find interesting that you guys need to maybe keep an eye on here. Let me turn it. Let me find it real quick. So they have their top 10 shooters in the nation coming back. Obviously, number one's Marcus Howard from Marquette.
Dude.
So, guy's going to light it up.
Yeah.
Number two, Sam Merrill. We've talked about it. If you're not down with Utah State yet, they're going to be top 15. They bring back, I think, all seven, or their top 7 players, including their whole starting 5.
Yep.
A team that won 28 games last year. Utah State's going to be the real deal. Sam Merrill is the leader of that team. David Moretti from Texas Tech can flat shoot it. You talk about Isaiah Joe from Arkansas, underrated guy. Cannot leave him open for a smidgen of a second, or he'll bury one on you. Matea Kavas from Nebraska. And actually, he's a new guy coming in because Nebraska's only got one guy coming back. We talked about yesterday. Cassius Winston, Thomas Ziogawa from Oklahoma State, Desmond Bain from TCU, Nathan Hoover. Remember, he was the running mate to Fletcher McGee.
Yep.
That whole Wofford squad last year could light you up.
Every one of them.
And then number 10, Antoine Davis. I had him as a shout-out winner last year.
Yeah.
From Detroit Mercy. He was leading the nation in scoring, or right there second behind Chris Clemens, our guy. Yep. Shout-out Chris Clemens from Campbell. So just a couple guys to keep an eye on that can fill it up. Antoine Davis, though, he can. It's Mike Davis' son. Remember, Mike Davis coached IU, coached UAB back in the day. It's his son coming as a sophomore. Last year's freshman at Detroit averaged like 24, 25, 26 points a game. He can fill it up, but he's playing on a bad Detroit team that currently right now can't make the tournament due to their APR issues. Detroit is, I've seen they are appealing the process, so we'll see. But as of right now, it's a team that he's just going to have to score points and try to win games just to win games because they're postseason ineligible.
Yes.
But anyway, starting to wrap that up. Any final lasting thoughts?
It's nice to do this again. I was really wanting to do these for a couple weeks now. So I'm glad we finally got the opportunity to do one of these. It's been like, 6 months since we've done the last one.
About 6 months, yeah.
So it's been a long time. And college basketball is only a month away, so we need to start getting our stuff together and start doing these more often. Also, new overlay. This is a new little setup here that I just made about an hour ago. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. I think it looks pretty cool. I know Cook said it looks good. So I'm glad you liked that. I'm just glad we're doing these again.
Yeah, for sure. You guys make sure we will start doing these. Try to do them once a week, especially when the season comes back. We'll do a little bit more to go along with podcasts. Podcasts, obviously, and the ECB Live, they're not going anywhere. This is just added stuff to get as much content, information out to you as we possibly can. Hopefully entertain you a little bit too. Make sure you're hitting the subscribe button. Let's try to get our subscribers up. Let's see if we can get 50 by the start of college basketball season. Not a hard mark to hit. Let's see if we can get 50 by the start of the college basketball season. Buy our merch. Peyton, tell them where to find it.
tpublic.com/user/ECB podcast.
Go check out that new Bank shirt. It's dope. I'm buying one tomorrow. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel here. Make sure you're joining the Facebook group if you're not already. Facebook.com/groups/everything college basketball. Peyton, where to find on the Twitter?
ECB Podcast 10.
ECB Podcast 10. We just gave you the link to the merch. Find the podcast anywhere you find podcasts at. Just search up Everything College Basketball. There you'll find us.
Yep.
If you're on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, whatever it is, give us a like and review. We're at like a 4.5 rating, which is really good because it's out of 5. But we need more reviews to bump our algorithm up so we're easier to find towards the top of the college basketball listing. But with that being said, this is our return of ECB in the Zone Press YouTube show. So we're going to get on out of here. And again, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you Sunday, episode number 38 of Everything College Basketball. Probably previewing SEC.
The SEC.
So until then, you guys keep it right, keep it tight, and ECB for life. Boom!
Boom!